artist and creative technologist, Kyle Gordon.
Just next. Stuff is so crafty. I've never used one of these. All right, so that's me. It's my take on a headshot to give you an idea of who I am. And at any point, you can scan this if you want to learn more about my work. But I do a lot of different things. And I would say how I introduce the work I do depends on who I'm talking to. If a lot of you do a lot of general 3D stuff, I'm sure you're a generalist, an animator, a creative director, art director. There's all sorts of things. So let's jump in. This is my reel we'll take a look at so you can get an idea. It doesn't matter. Makes it a little better, but I think it's okay. Oh yeah, that's much better. Sweet. So there's a lot of different work in there. And this image right here is more of the stuff I've been doing recently, which is a pretty different direction from the motion graphics and live concerts and entertainment stuff I've been doing for the last 10 years. So how did we get there? Who here knows what an NFT is? It was an amazing time and the most depressed I have ever been in my life. And I got burned out from just making digital art and sitting behind my computer. It was amazing and beautiful and exhausting. And as someone who is a classically trained artist, I wanted to do something that was more based in the physical world and wasn't strictly behind screens. So I went to an AI meetup. And this guy was like, whoa, you do stage stuff. Can you make my stage? And that somehow turned into, can you make my office look like an anime? And I said what any starving artist would say, yes. And with no budget, I figured out, how do I do this? And so in this image, you'll see a couple different interesting things where I basically recreated ramen booths in 3D, baked the textures, and printed them out on life-size texture maps, and hand cut them with an X-Acto knife, as you'll see in the bottom left corner, and placed them on their booths. And that's kind of how it turned out. And also worked with some like perspective stuff, and basically started to dabble with how do we take things that belong strictly in the 3D realm and transpose them into the physical realm, especially when there's no screen. So these are some shots of how it turned out. It was pretty cool. And that led to someone else being like, damn, this is cool. I want this. And obviously, not being an architect, an engineer, or anyone with any experience doing interior design, they were like, can you design our office and community space? And I said, yes, I can. And so, with a little bit of imagination and a zillion different tools, some of which you're probably familiar with and other ones you might not be, I basically project managed and designed and did a bunch of random stuff using 3D, Octane, Cinema 4D, etc. to actually make a real space. And I just want to add too, can anyone guess which of these tools I probably spent 90% of the time working in? Right, Notion. For anyone who has used Notion, it's great. But all of the previs, all the design, everything, I use Cinema 4D and Octane and the render network to basically go back and forth between here and Dubai once a month for a year and a half. And so here's some shots of how it went. Basically doing architectural drawings in Figma, which they hated. But, I just want to comment quickly on, we're entering now an age of visual communication. And if you've prompted and you've used anything, it's less about the tools you use and how you achieve and communicate your vision. And so that's exactly what I did. Even though it was the wrong tools, you can always work with people who are better than you and collaborate and make things that are actually engineered and structurally sound. Little bit more photos, drawings of kitchens and stuff, and basically color correcting to the lighting in rooms, like screensavers and stuff for the displays. I wanted to make sure everything matched and also matched the ambient lighting of the space. More drawings, lighting, landscaping, power sockets. I literally placed every power socket in this place. It was crazy. And all the furniture too. Here's some 3D stuff. This was an AutoCAD. AutoCAD. Brought it into Cinema 4D and basically did all the rendering using the drawings that we made in 2D. That's a standing desk that we designed because in Dubai, it's cheaper to design your own furniture than to buy it. Some textiles, which was really fun. I'm sure you guys all nerd out with all sorts of textures and materials. This was like being a kid in a candy shop. Some more ideas. Something that's pretty sweet about Octane is that if you do anything in 3D, there's a lot of things that actually reflect into the physical world. Reflections, lighting simulations, wattage, power, etc. It's all super powerful, and it actually translates into building real things. Especially these lights and stuff, they actually have that glow in real life. They're called barasols. Pretty sweet. And so this is how it turned out. It's basically a 12,000 square foot community space for a company called Polygon. I'm sure you're familiar with them. We had 2 miles of high density LED strips. And again, you could mimic all the wattage and do all the previs of all the lighting in 3D using Octane and the render network. Some more photos. There's a bunch of light installations and all this. All of this was basically possible because I was able to visually communicate to basically the architects and to the team and get all of this sort of signed off on. Yeah, they're not renders. I know they look like renders, they're not renders. I just want to touch on this too. A lot of my work centers around human-centric design. I think it's very important that people feel good in the space that they're working in. So the lighting actually shifts and is dynamic throughout the day, where during the day it's a little more bright and mimics sunlight, and at night it's warmer, and all of the monitors and stuff color correct to match that throughout the day. Not as much as it would cost here. And so the top row are some of the renders. Bottom row is the real life product. And so a lot of this is made possible because of the render network. I had to be on the road a lot. Some of this stuff is from like the anime office space, and some of this is more of the experiential, immersive sort of 3D animation work that I did. There's a wide range of applications for the render network. It doesn't just have to be strictly for this, but if you are on the road, it's pretty powerful, and I have to be pretty mobile these days for a lot of the work I do. This is the evolution of my workstation. When I was in college, during the age when there was no render networks and you had to have like 4 GPUs crammed in a box, then I could have one very powerful one with my cat who loves to sit on top of my vent. And this is what my workstation has been the last year and a half while I'm traveling. Basically, a remote desktop into my workstation at home and work off my iPad for the most part, using the render network to bust stuff out quickly, or just render it out locally on my workstation at home. we don't have to watch this, but basically it's just a little look at me making stuff with my hands, which has been beautiful and fun and awesome. Highly recommended for anyone who wants to remain agile and athletic, as someone whose body has been failing a lot the last few years. Highly recommend thinking a little bit beyond the screen with your digital work. There's a lot of applications you can bridge the 3D principles into the physical realm. And really, with AI and all this stuff, I know people are kind of scared and feeling like it's coming for them. But when you're armed with something with infinite knowledge, the possibilities are kind of endless. And just because you can't do something doesn't mean that you can't with the power of AI. And yeah, that's it, guys. Is there time still for questions? Cool. What's up?
Wait, hold it.
How on earth did you budget that?
Notion, baby. No, actually, we had about 2 months after we sort of previs and had all of the work done in 3D, decided sort of go and like vet local vendors, which was a fucking nightmare, dude. Oh my God. Bring your own team if you're ever working in the Middle East. Trust me, it's worth the cost. So we basically vetted everyone, got a couple quotes from different people, and ended up going with whatever fit within the budget. The funny part is we had a certain amount allocated, and crypto. Don't hold your budget in crypto.
Yep. Yep.
That became another problem to navigate. But I think the entire project cost 1.2 million, and they basically handed over a 12,000 square foot empty box and said, "Here you go." Yeah.
Is this all you do now? Do you build spaces?
Is this all you do?
Is this what you're doing now?
It's not enough?
I mean, not that it's not enough. It's just like, did you switch and this is like, people are coming to you.
This is sort of the niche that I do now. I still do a lot of animation and large scale immersive experiential animation. It really depends. Yeah, I would say this is sort of the niche I've fallen into. I'm not sure if I fully love it. I've been feeling a little more gravitating towards the animation again, strictly because a lot of this is project management. It's not creative. There's a lot of very not sexy stuff going on. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. I'm still doing a lot of different stuff. Yeah. Yeah, what's up?
How did you approach the client or did the client approach you, and how did that happen?
Luck. A little bit of luck. And from the NFT days, I ran a startup during that time, did some investing, finance, business, sort of things that aren't very artsy. Made some connections, and based on that anime alleyway thing, a lot of people were coming through because it was an accelerator space in San Francisco. A couple people were reaching out to make spaces cool for their community, for their people. But yeah, educating tech people the importance of art and making space cool so that people can be productive is rather difficult. But like with anything, if you want to make a certain type of work, you just need to make it so that you have the portfolio. So if you have an opportunity to work on anything cool, don't do it for free, but just try to make stuff, and get it out there.
Was there anything you designed, like not having a architectural background, that you had to then rework because it's like, oh, the load bearingness of this material is just not high enough, and you're gonna have to completely restart, or this arch cannot be at this angle because that's not a structurally sound arch or something like that you had to then rethink?
Yeah, so the professionals we hired also had no idea what they were doing. It's part of the reason I had to be out there to supervise. It's a different world out in the Middle East. Yeah, most of it was structurally sound and properly engineered and stamped and all that stuff. But with architecture, a lot of things changed. Even the final product was vastly different from a lot of the renders that we did have. As you'll learn with most projects, things change. Don't get married to something. It's usually going to change.
What did your like learning process look like when you were like, okay, I need this. It has to bear a load, or it has to be a part of the structure, or I need to run X amount of wires through here, like however many feet of wires. Was that like, hey, Chat GPT, how many wires can I fit into a 8x5 box? Or is that like, hey, let me call up a wire electrician, ask him, and I'll use Chat GPT to let me know like what language to use when talking to him?
So we hired professionals to do a lot of the wire work and the actual structural stuff. I did have to chat GPT a lot of things to double check, especially like standards for like furniture height and stuff, because we designed all the furniture from scratch. So figuring out how to make it ergonomic, and also like people are a little bit shorter there, so our standards don't necessarily apply over there, especially for me. So yeah, just make sure you hire people who know what they're doing and that you can trust, and they'll be willing to work with you. But you got to kind of manage it if you really want it to fully follow through with your vision.
I have
yeah.
a quick question as
Well,
well.
I got the mic here also.
Oh, I can't see where you are.
Well,
Sound is coming
if
from
you can go first, go ahead. But
Oh,
I
no,
also
no,
have
no,
a
go,
mic.
go,
I
go.
can interrupt you any
I see
second.
you now. I see you now.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Thank you. Sorry, Cal. Do you mind going back to the slide with the tools you use? Just curiously, with where you listed all the tools, like your DCCs and whatnot. I remember you saying, okay, yeah, exactly. So you said while you were showing the slide, which one of these tools you think I spent the most time in? And then you said Notion. Now, if I'm looking at these tools right now, I'm not seeing Notion. Did you set us up for failure? Was that planned? What's going on here? I did not see Notion, and I felt misled, and I felt disappointed. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. No.
I apologize. I was very tired when I made this.
Okay, my question. So you said that you would love to go back into animation. Are there any artists that you would love to collaborate with?
I mean, a lot of the ones here, to be honest, like, just so you all know, a lot of the principles of lighting and texturing and just all the stuff that I put into this project, I learned from many people in these rooms through their tutorials and stuff over the years. A lot of the principles you learn in 3D translate into the physical realm. I would say, I don't know if Blake's here, but her work is amazing. Her surrealscapes and stuff like that, that would look gorgeous in real life. David and his infinity rooms, there was some like mirror sort of stuff here. Man, go get some mirrors and lights. Man, I'm telling you, you would make some incredible physical sculptures. Yeah, I mean, always down for collaboration with cool artists, you know.
Ooh, question at the back.
Okay. No, want you recording. Sorry. Just in case it's good.
It's a big just in case. I know you have a lot of tools that you use in travel and all that in Middle East. I'm from the Middle East, so I understand the pain. But how do you project deadlines and then kind of like timelines and then decide what the deadlines are going to be?
Well, with architecture and stuff, there's this thing called permitting, which is a void. And you never know, based on jurisdiction, locations, etc. It constantly changes. It constantly floats at your client's expense, typically. Here, the permitting process, and it varies by city, basically, so you have to push that stuff out. But typically, just like you would for any other animation project, there is like a design timeline, and then you sort of break out the rest of the project based on the permitting estimated schedule and stuff. You just need to make sure that all the vendors sort of align with the permitting, because otherwise you end up with people who are like, I need to deliver like 200 chairs, and you're like, we are under construction. You can't deliver them. So.
Okay, there's no more hands up.
Oh,
Are you
hands
sure?
up.
Last chance. Going once.
Nobody has the
Okay.
mic.
Appreciate it.
No one has the mic. Amazing. Kyle Gordon, everybody.